So I'm going to show you how to make this faux 3D video transition move, or like 2.5D from a 2D image, to make it look like it's a little bit 3D over a short period of time. So first you're going to need Stable Diffusion. I've got a video tutorial on how to download that and install it. And we're going to need an extension. So I'll put the links in the description. It's called Depth Map Script. It's a high resolution depth map for Stable Diffusion. And you can follow the instructions on their website, but you can come down here to this section here, installation. You just want to copy this part of the URL here, paste that into this field here and click install. That's going to take a little bit of time. I've already got it installed. Once it's installed, you want to close down Stable Diffusion altogether and restart it. Once you've restarted and refreshed, you should have this new tab called Depth right here. And so what you want to do is you want to go grab an image. And I've got this image I've trained before, or not trained, but like I've put in before. You just want to drag and drop it into this area here. And I think this is a really difficult image to get a depth from. It's got lots of black areas and light areas, and the background's neutral, similar to hair. And it's just, I thought it'd be a difficult one, and I wanted to test it with this image. But all you do is you put an image in here, you come down and you've got different models. Now I've tested with all these kinds of models. An example here is what you end up with at the end. You end up with a grayscale image with the white being closest to us and the black being further away from us. So I've got an example of each of these models. And like I said, I used a really tough source image. And we get something like that. So you basically put your image in here, you set your width and your height to be the same as your resolution. You pick your model. In this case, I found Midas V21 the best one to use. So let me get a brand new image. Let me choose this image, put that there, select the model, put the dimensions of my source image and click generate. And then if we look at the command window, it'll show us, the process it's going through. Or we can just watch the upload, the progress bar, and it'll take some time. If you've not downloaded these models before, it's going to go and download the one you're using and then do the process. It's going to take some time. And we get left with an image like that. Once we have our image, we can come across to find where you've got your Stable Diffusion installed, come to Outputs, Extra Images, and it will be saved in Extra Images there. Now for the After Effects component, in your footage folder, wherever you like to keep your files, select the image you want to manipulate, and then the depth map one. Drag those into After Effects. I'm going to drag the image into, make it a new composition. I'm going to drag that depth map just underneath there. And I'm going to copy Command C, Command V, paste that, and I'm going to drag that underneath the depth. And you'll see why I do that later. So on the top layer, I'm going to get the magic plugin. It's called Displacement Map. Just grab that and drag that onto the image. And you can see how it's all broken, whatever at the moment. We want to change all these settings. So under displacement map layer, choose the depth map that we have as the source and make the source effects and masks. Next, for the horizontal displacement and the vertical, change that to luminance. Luminance is just the grayscale that we want to use. We don't want to use any color data. And then I'm just going to zero these out so I can show you what they're doing. So what's happening here is if I move this horizontal, you can see it's using that grayscale information from the layer underneath it, and it's moving. If I move it too far, it breaks the illusion, you can see. So it's just displacing those coordinates based on the grayscale color information of this right here. So what I can do to make this a bit cleaner is I can also adjust what this looks like by grabbing a levels. I'll drop that onto the layer, and I might also get a blur, a Gaussian blur, and drop that on there. So now if I want this background to be fully black and not affected at all, drag that right up. I use the histogram here. Maybe I start where it starts to get some adjustments, and then with the white, maybe I don't need such detail, and I'll drag it to something like that. And then with the blur, I want to give it some just, less clear definition between the lights and the dark. So maybe I'll make it 10, something like that. So I've just adjusted my image a bit. Let me turn back on this. And so now I think that's like just softened the transition up. Still breaks if we get it really far, but there's a little bit more leeway in what's happening. So I can animate this. Let me click the stopwatch next to these. I'll spindle down to find my displacement map here. So if I go from here to the end, I've just made it a 1 second transition. It's just one 1 second edit that I want. So let me start by maybe 10. I think 10 is, if I go much further than 10, you start to see some warping in the edges. So I'm going to usually go around about 10. And with this one, with the vertical, maybe I just want a little bit, maybe -5 will do. And I come all the way to the end. Click these here to do another animation step, and I'm going to go to -10 in the horizontal and maybe 5 in the vertical. So, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to select that, right click, and go easy ease in, so the transition slows down as we get there. So let me check that out. Nice. So maybe I don't want so much, maybe I just want 8 and -3, because I really want to sell that it is, I'm going to go -8 on this one and 3 on this one. So I really want to sell just a subtle move. And so you can see the edges here are black. That's because I've got my depth matte turned on visible. So I'm going to turn that off. So you can see now underneath I've got the original source. So if I had that off, it would be black. And I want to show you also, here we've got wrap pixel around. So that's like, because we've got nothing in the edge, it attempts to sort of fill up the area. It works kind of, but I think I found it better is just put another layer underneath. So there's the move, and to sell it a little bit more, I will just go into my scale and position, and maybe I start like 1/110 scale, and the position just down a little bit. And then I come to the end, and then I'll make the scale just 100%. So we've come out, and I'll change that back to there. Once again, select, right click, easy ease in. And there we've got our move. So then once I put that, come to project, I drop that transition. What was it, number 22? Drop that transition on top of some others, and then you'll see that we've got like an edit going on here. So it sells it pretty well. You know, you're not fooling anyone that it's a full 3D, but it's good enough if you want to do a nice sort of faux 2.5D move, give it some sort of perspective shift so it's not just a flat image. That's a nice little technique. And it works with any type of image, landscapes or interiors, not just portraits. And of course, the depth map that you use will, might vary depending on the kind of image you've got. If it's more photorealistic, it might turn out that one of the other options in Stable Diffusion is a better result. But have fun playing around with that, and love to see what you make out of it. Cheers, till next time.